Thor Love and Thunder is about to hit theaters, showing us what Thor and his new friends, the Guardians of the Galaxy, have gotten up to after Avengers Endgame. So if you need a quick refresher on everything Thor and the Guardians have done in the MCU so far, don't worry, this video has you covered. This is everything you need to know before watching Thor Love and Thunder. We are first introduced to Thor in his titular 2011 film. Known as the God of Thunder, Thor is the brash and arrogant son of Odin, king of Asgard. As Odin is about to crown Thor the new king, frost giants, rivals of Asgard, arrive to steal back the Casket of Ancient Winters, a relic that Odin had taken from them centuries prior. Against Odin's wishes, Thor uses the Bifrost to travel to the frost giant's home realm of Jotunheim, alongside his mischievous stepbrother Loki, his childhood friend Sif, and the Warriors 3. There they confront the frost giant ruler Laufey. A massive fight ensues, and Odin is forced to rescue his sons and their friends, breaking the truce between Asgard and Jotunheim. For his arrogance and recklessness, Odin strips Thor of his godlike powers and exiles him to Earth as a mortal, alongside his trusty hammer Mjolnir, which was now enchanted to only be used by a person who was worthy. On Earth, Thor meets astrophysicist Dr. Jane Foster, her assistant Darcy, and her mentor Dr. Erik Selvig. The trio investigate Thor and Mjolnir's arrival on Earth, and the scientific implications they bring. When Thor attempts to wield Mjolnir, he finds that he is no longer worthy. Resigned to his fate as a mortal on Earth, Thor enters into a romance with Jane. Back in Asgard, Loki discovers that he was actually Laufey's son, and after confronting Odin with this news, a weakened Odin falls into a deep sleep. Loki seizes the throne of Asgard and offers Laufey a chance to kill Odin and take back the casket. Sif and the Warriors 3 use the Bifrost to travel to Earth and warn Thor. Loki sends a powerful machine known as the Destroyer to stop them. Thor ends up sacrificing himself to save his friends, an act that proves him worthy to wield Mjolnir. With his powers back, Thor defeats the Destroyer and kisses Jane goodbye, then departs with his friends to save Asgard from the villainous Loki. When Laufey arrives to kill Odin and steal the casket, Loki betrays him and kills him. It turns out Loki's true plan was to lure Laufey into an attack on Asgard as an excuse to destroy Jotunheim and win the ultimate favor of Odin. Thor arrives to fight Loki, ultimately destroying the Bifrost to prevent Loki's villainous plan. As Odin finally awakens, he races to save his sons from falling into the abyss left in the Bifrost's wake. When he still refuses to accept Loki's villainous ways, the adopted son allows himself to fall into the unknown. Thor makes amends with his father and admits he wasn't quite ready to be king. With the Bifrost destroyed, Thor has no way to return to Earth and reunite with Jane, so he remains in Asgard and continues to serve his father. The story continues in the Avengers. Loki meets the Other, leader of an alien species known as the Chitauri. If Loki brought the Other a powerful object known as the Tesseract, he would be given a Chitauri army to help him take over the Earth. And so Loki travels to Earth to retrieve the Tesseract, using his powers to enslave many humans, including Dr. Selvig and the heroic Hawkeye. To defeat Loki and the Chitauri army, a team of superheroes known as the Avengers are assembled. The team includes Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, and the Hulk. Upon hearing of his brother's evil plans, Thor returns to Earth to join the Avengers. The Avengers battle the Chitauri army in New York City, eventually defeating them and apprehending Loki. The Avengers seize control of the Tesseract, freeing all of the enslaved minds from Loki's control. Thor takes Loki and the Tesseract back to Asgard, where they are both locked away to prevent any further danger. It's then revealed that the Other served a master of his own, the Mad Titan Thanos, the most dangerous villain the universe had ever seen. In Thor: The Dark World, the Bifrost has been reconstructed, once again bridging together the 9 realms. The Asgardians learn that a rare event known as the Convergence would occur imminently. aligning the realms and creating portals that link the worlds at random. Back on Earth, Jane investigates one of the newly opened portals and is pulled through into another world, where she absorbs the power of a fluid-like weapon known as the Ether. The Bifrost protector Heimdall warns Thor, who races to Jane and brings her back to Asgard. Odin recognizes the Ether and warns that it will not only kill Jane, but also bring forth a catastrophic prophecy. A race of dark elves, previously thought to have been defeated, are awakened by the return of the Ether. Led by the evil Malekith, the Dark Elves attack Asgard, wanting to take the Ether from Jane and use it for their own nefarious purposes. Thor's mother, Frigga, sacrifices herself to protect Jane from Malekith and his army. In need of help to save Jane, Thor releases Loki from his prison to lead them to a secret portal to Svartalheim, the home of the Dark Elves. In Svartalheim, Malekith confronts the group and removes the Ether from Jane. Thor's attempt to destroy it fails, and Malekith absorbs the power into himself. Malekith escapes and departs for Earth, while Loki is fatally wounded while fighting Malekith's lieutenant Algrim. As Loki dies in Thor's arms, Thor promises to tell their father about his heroic sacrifice. Thor then chases after Malekith, who plan to release the Ether at the center of the Convergence in order for the Dark Elves to rule the 9 realms. Thor manages to defeat Malekith and the Ether is successfully contained. Back in Asgard, Thor once again turns down the throne, but does tell Odin about Loki's heroic sacrifice. After Thor leaves, it's revealed that Odin was actually a disguised Loki, alive and well and impersonating Odin to lead Asgard. The story continues in Thor Ragnarok. Several years have passed and things haven't gone quite so well for the god of thunder. Thor and Jane have broken up and our hero is currently imprisoned by the fire demon Surtur. Surtur informs Thor that Asgard would soon be destroyed during the apocalyptic prophesied event known as Ragnarok. Thor defeats Surtur and returns home. In Asgard, Thor exposes that Loki has been posing as Odin. The two brothers then pay a visit to the real Odin, now on Earth, who explains that he was dying. His death would release his secret firstborn child Hela, whom Odin imprisoned and kept secret after her ambition and power was feared to lead to Ragnarok. Upon Odin's death, Hela arrives and proves her power by destroying Mjolnir. Thor and Loki flee as Hela heads to Asgard. She slaughters the Warriors 3 and resurrects an ancient dead army. Her plan was to use the Bifrost to expand Asgard's control throughout the other realms. So Heimdall takes the sword that controls the Bifrost and goes into hiding. Meanwhile, the fleeing Thor crash lands on the garbage planet Sakaar, where he is quickly captured by a slave trader. Thor recognizes his captor as a Valkyrie, one of Asgard's legendary female warriors who had died fighting Hela eons ago. Valkyrie sells Thor as a gladiator to Sakaar's ruler, the Grandmaster, whom Loki has already befriended. While enslaved by the Grandmaster, Thor befriends 2 other gladiators, the aliens Korg and Meek. During Thor's first fight as a gladiator, he is shocked to discover that his opponent is his old Avengers pal, the Hulk. Thor teams up with Hulk, Valkyrie, and Loki to liberate the gladiators and overthrow the Grandmaster. Thor, Hulk, and Valkyrie steal the Grandmaster's ship to travel back to Asgard to fight Hela and her army, while Loki, Korg, Meek, and the gladiators rescue the Asgardian citizens. While Thor fights Hela, the sister quickly gains the upper hand, resulting in Thor losing his right eye. Thor then has a vision of Odin, who tells him that the only thing that could defeat Hela was Ragnarok. And so, Thor tells Loki to pull off his most mischievous act yet, bringing forth Ragnarok. Loki summons a reborn Surtur, who destroys Asgard and kills Hela. Thor and his rescued Asgardian people were all aboard the Grandmaster's ship, alive and well, and in search of a new home. The story continues in Avengers Infinity War, where the villainous Mad Titan Thanos and his army intercept the Asgardian ship. Thanos was looking to collect the 6 Infinity Stones, which would give him the power to destroy half of the entire universe's population. One of those stones was the Space Stone inside the Tesseract. which had been rescued from Asgard before its destruction. Thanos and his men quickly overpower Thor and his friends, stealing the stone, then killing Heimdall and Loki before destroying the Asgardian ship. A heartbroken and defeated Thor floating aimlessly through space is the perfect time to pause his story and tell you more about Thanos and his connection to the Guardians of the Galaxy. We are first introduced to the Guardians in the titular Guardians of the Galaxy film. Thanos hires the villainous Ronan to acquire the Power Stone. Working alongside Ronan is Thanos' adopted daughter Gamora. While attempting to steal the stone, Gamora is arrested and placed in prison. There she meets a ragtag team of fellow prisoners. There was Star-Lord, aka Peter Quill, a human who, following his mother's death, was abducted from Earth as a child by the alien Yondu and his team of thieves and smugglers known as the Ravagers. Rocket is a bounty hunting raccoon illegally experimented on with genetic and cybernetic modifications. Rocket's mercenary partner is Groot, a giant tree-like being whose entire language consists solely of the phrase, "I am Groot." And then there's Drax the Destroyer, a warrior whose family was killed after their homeworld was invaded by Thanos' forces, led by Ronan. When Gamora reveals to the others that she was secretly working against Ronan and Thanos to keep the stone's dangerous power away from them, the group team up to escape prison and save the stone. Ronan manages to secure the stone, but instead of turning it over to Thanos as promised, he decides to keep the stone's power for himself. Thanos' other adopted daughter Nebula resents her father and joins Ronan. Gamora's group, now calling themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy, bond as they attempt to defeat Ronan. They were all outcasts and orphans, and in each other they found an actual family. During their battle against Ronan and his army, Groot sacrifices himself to save the others. The remaining Guardians then band together to harness the power of the stone and kill Ronan. The Guardians turn the stone over to the benevolent Nova Corps, then depart on their ship for more adventures together. Along for the ride is a new baby version of Groot, who grows from a sapling taken from his original version. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, a few months have passed and the Guardians have grown into a closer, albeit highly dysfunctional, family. Quill and Gamora even begin to develop a romance. The Guardians are hired by the Sovereign to protect some valuable batteries in exchange for Nebula, who was captured after trying to steal the batteries for herself. While Nebula failed, Rocket succeeds in going rogue to steal the batteries, angering the Sovereign. They attack the Guardians, causing them to crash on an unknown planet, and send Yondu and his Ravagers to capture the Guardians. Yondu manages to capture Rocket, Groot, and Nebula, but refuses to turn over Peter Quill. This causes the Ravagers to mutiny and execute those loyal to Yondu. Yondu's right-hand man Kraglin survives, freeing Yondu and Rocket, who killed the disloyal mutineers. While crashed on the mysterious planet, the other Guardians meet Ego, who reveals himself to be a godlike celestial, so powerful that he created the very planet they were currently stranded on. Oh, and he also happened to be Peter Quill's father. Ego reveals to Quill that he had traveled to thousands of planets, leaving seedlings of himself, which could only be activated by the power of 2 Celestials. And so, Ego impregnated countless women, hiring Yondu to bring them to him when they came of age. So far, none of those children proved powerful enough, so Ego killed them all. When Quill appeared to possess celestial power, Ego gave his mother a tumor that killed her, hoping to remove any distractions from Quill's life. Yondu, not wanting the young Quill to die, betrayed Ego and raised Quill as a Ravager. As an angry Quill fights Ego using his newly discovered celestial powers, Ego's empath servant Mantis warns the other Guardians of Ego's villainous nature. They travel to the planet's brain to plant a bomb. As the bomb explodes, Ego dies and Quill loses his celestial powers. Yondu sacrifices himself to save Quill, who realizes just how much love this makeshift father truly had for him. As the film comes to a close, Mantis joins the Guardians, Kraglin takes Yondu's signature arrow and headgear, Quill and Gamora profess their love for each other, and Nebula, now reconciled with Gamora, goes off to find and kill Thanos. And that brings us back to Avengers Infinity War. It's been 4 years since the Guardians defeated Ego, and they've continued to live as a dysfunctional family of misfits. Eventually, they pick up a distress signal from the destroyed Asgardian ship and rescue Thor. The group devise a plan to stop Thanos from acquiring all of the Infinity Stones. Thor, Rocket, and a now teenage Groot travel to a dwarf king named Eitri, who forges Thor a new weapon to replace Mjolnir, a mighty battle axe known as Stormbreaker, using Groot's arm as its handle. Meanwhile, the Guardians travel to a planet called Nowhere to prevent Thanos from stealing the Reality Stone. While there, Thanos defeats them, stealing the stone and capturing Gamora. Thanos takes Gamora to Vormir, homeworld of the Soul Stone. In order to obtain the stone, Thanos had to sacrifice someone he loved, so he kills his daughter Gamora and acquires the stone. Nebula and the other Guardians team up with Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man to fight Thanos. But upon learning of Gamora's death, a vengeful Quill accidentally ruins their plans, allowing Thanos to overpower the group and escape to Earth to collect the final stone. Thor, Rocket, and Groot arrive on Earth to join the other Avengers in their final fight against Thanos. Despite their best efforts, Thanos defeats them all to acquire the final Infinity Stone. With the snap of his finger, half of the entire universe's population, including every Guardian but Rocket and Nebula, are killed. In Avengers Endgame, Thanos destroys the stones and goes to live in peace now that his mission was complete. An enraged Thor, who blames himself for the Avengers' loss, decapitates Thanos. 5 years later, a despondent Thor has let himself go, developing a serious dad bod. The surviving Asgardians have built New Asgard in Norway, but Thor has given up his responsibilities to lead and instead spends his days drinking and playing video games with Korg and Meek. Rocket pays a visit to Thor and informs him that the Avengers were assembling once again, with a new plan to save everyone that was lost in Thanos' snap. The plan was for the Avengers to travel back to various points in time to steal the Infinity Stones before Thanos could get his hands on them. Thor and Rocket travel back to Asgard in 2013, where Jane had absorbed the Ether, aka the Reality Stone. While Rocket obtains the stone, Thor gets a chance to see his mother Frigga again, who gives him encouragement. Before returning to the present, Thor also steals the past version of Mjolnir. Meanwhile, Nebula travels back to 2014 to steal the Power Stone before the Guardians and Ronan could obtain it. Unfortunately, before Nebula can return to the present, she is captured by the 2014 version of Thanos, who learns of his future success and the Avengers' current attempt to reverse it. He sends 2014 Nebula to the future to pose as the present-day Nebula. The other Avengers travel back to 2012 to steal the Space Stone from the Tesseract during their original battle against Loki and his Chitauri army. Unfortunately for them, during the heist, the 2012 version of Loki manages to escape through time and avoid his eventual redemption arc and death. In the present, the Avengers reconvene, having successfully acquired all of the Infinity Stones. While the Avengers are distracted, 2014 Nebula uses the time machine to bring 2014 Thanos and his massive army, including the villainous 2014 Gamora, to the present. Hulk uses the Infinity Stones to reverse Thanos' snap, bringing back all of their fallen friends, including the Guardians. Thor, the Guardians, and all of their resurrected allies join together to battle Thanos' army. During the battle, Nebula kills her villainous past self, but manages to convince the 2014 Gamora to betray Thanos. Eventually, Iron Man sacrifices himself to defeat Thanos, saving the world once and for all. Following Thanos' defeat, the 2014 Gamora decides to leave to make her own path. Thor appoints Valkyrie as the new king of Asgard, then decides to join the Guardians of the Galaxy as they head off on their next adventure. That's everything you need to know before seeing Thor, Love, and Thunder. Let me know some of your favorite moments from Thor or the Guardians of the Galaxy in the entire MCU so far, and what are you most looking forward to seeing in Love and Thunder. Like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe to this channel for more content like it, and that does it for me in this one, but I'll see you in the next one.